There it goes. Can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear me now too. I don't know what happened. It just went off. But I was there in the wrong chapter anyway, so. Put the music back on. Honey, this is like third one I've done tonight. I'm having issues, apparently. But at least I got the right cover on it this time. Oh, you should die. I'm going to die for you. Nina, can you send Arbeen or RB or Darlene the link to this chat? I mean, to this particular video. They may be still looking for me. All right, this time we're going to do chapter 7, and I'm going to go ahead and get started since I got to read for an hour until 8:30 or 9:30. So, okay. Lucky you two nibblefuls are good. I don't know what happened before. I ain't touching thing. The only thing I unplugged was my headset. I wonder. You know what? I bet it was reading it. It was you guys were hearing me through my headset. Thank you, Miss Pebbles. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Chapter 7. 7 this time. Jackie, I've given out about 4 of these already tonight. You can have yours too. Okay, chapter 7. He took my hand and led me through the living room to the bathroom off his master's suite on the first floor. I was aching with desire. He began to run the bath. Take off the rest of your clothes now. I did as if hypnotized by him. He joined me and we entered the clawfoot tub together. I sat in front of him, my back against his chest, and he lathered up a cloth and gently began washing me, forcing me to stay calm. But it would be short-lived, as he began washing my breasts, lingering on my nipples. Stay still, he warned again. Nina, 2 more for you. Okay. Hold on. I had somebody that was coming to watch. And Okay. Oh, this should be good. I hope you write some of the stuff I say, ha ha, just for kicks and giggles. Okay. Stay still, he warned again, and I moaned. He continued down to the swollen lips between my legs and said, spread your legs for me, and wash gently at first. He set the cloth aside and took one hand and used his fingers to spread me open. He didn't touch me, but held me open so that I felt the warm water sloshing over and around my swollen, unfulfilled sex. Don't move, Annabelle, or I will take you out of the bath and over to the tea stop. Oh, God. I tried as best I could not to move. I certainly did not want to leave in this condition, and I certainly did not want to take public transportation. The water teased me, as did his lack of touching, and I'm sure he knew exactly the effect he was having on me. He held me up like that forever, and I whimpered slightly. I could feel his breath and smile. I could feel his breath and smile against my neck. I could feel his breath and smile against my neck. Getting up close and personal with you guys now. Are my eyes green or are they brown? I can't tell. They're usually green. Uh, it was torture and glorious all at the same time. I groaned, my insides turning again in knots. I didn't think I could take any more physically or emotionally. Please, Michael. I began to beg in earnest. I was completely falling apart. He guided the water with his other hand to splash against my exposed, swollen bud of nerves, but I forced myself to stay still. He didn't have to warn me again that he was a man of his word. He finally let go, but he continued to ignore my pathetic pleas. I squeezed my legs together tightly. I was aching. Feel good to move again, Annabelle? He softly chuckled. Here, let me get your back. Sit forward. And he let suds and warmth cascade down my back. He kissed my back and neck tenderly, and I couldn't take it anymore. I turned myself around and jumped on top of him and kissed him, losing my breath into his mouth, moaning, losing my sanity, kissing him harder and harder, rubbing up against him, humping his leg like an animal in heat. Tears began to flow down my face. It was like I was someone else entirely, someone I had absolutely no control over. Okay, he said. You've had enough. Have you learned your lesson? Yes, I sobbed, squirming, not able to stop rubbing up against him. Please, I can't handle it anymore. Do not deceive me again, Annabelle. This was nothing compared to the lessons I could teach you. I've gone easy on you. His eyes looked pained, hurt behind them. I will never. Jesus, what kind of promises was I making? For your sake, I hope not. Come, draw off to my bed. He carried me into his bedroom, wrapped in a towel. I was exhausted, humiliated, and yet still pulsated with desire. I grabbed him tightly around his neck, snuggling my head into his chest. His dark chest hair tickled my face, and I nuzzled my nose into it, inhaling in his masculine scent. That's one of my favorite things to do. Just take it and just rub. God. He folded down his beige down comforter, gently removed my towel, and placed me onto his bed on my back. Are you chilly? Would you like me to start a fire? He pointed to the wood-burning stove in the corner fireplace of his bedroom. Please, I said, completely entranced by him. His towel was wrapped around his sexy waist, and he walked over to the fireplace, grabbing some kindling and wood that lay next to it. He was ridiculously gorgeous, and I watched the muscles in his back tense as he picked up the wood. If he looked back at me, he would have seen me drool. I had to force my mouth closed. When the fire was set, he shut off all the lights. The beautiful embers from the wood stove illuminated the room just enough. "How would you like to come, Annabelle?" he asked tenderly. God, he changed in an instant. This was the Michael of the night before. He lay down on the bed next to me. Passion blazed in his eyes. I was slightly embarrassed by his question, but I knew him enough now to know that he wanted to hear my answer. I was warmed from the bath and fire, but shivered in anticipation of finally coming. It had been a night of torment. I didn't want to wait 1 second longer. I just wanted to feel him inside of me. Okay, girls, I just thought of something. When she was talking about he still had the towel wrapped around him and he went over to start the fire. Imagine some of our TikTok crushes acting out that scene. Can you imagine? I may have to start doing, I got a duet idea, y'all. Karen, don't let me forget it. Let's see. It had been a night of torment. I didn't want to wait 1 second longer. I just wanted to feel him inside me. I want you. I want to feel you inside of me, I whispered. He removed his towel and lay directly on top of me. His entire weight pressed down on me. I could feel his erection, aghast that he could be hard again. He began to kiss me gently, becoming more passionate the longer we kissed. I squeezed my legs together and moaned, loving how he felt on top of me. He rose to put on a condom and pressed it against my knee and said, "Spread your legs." Oh, God. Waves of heat flooded my body as he slid into me ever so slowly. I moaned and started to move my hips. I wanted him to go faster. "Oh, Michael, yes. Please fuck me," I pleaded. "Shh. Slow down. My God, Annabelle, you are so wet. So hot." What the fuck did he expect? He had been teasing me for hours, denying me an orgasm. I was desperate for release. He continued, slowly pushing deeper into me and slowly taking it out, always keeping at least the tip of it in me. Slowly he pushed in and out, and I grabbed the cotton sheets in both my hands tightly. He kissed my neck, my chin, my lips, and continued his slow rhythm of torturous bliss. "Faster," I pleaded. "Please, oh God, please, faster," I begged quietly. He stilled and smiled down at me. "Do you crave me, Annabelle?" Oh, dear God, how much was he going to put me through? But he began to speed up, still very gently pushing his cock in and out of me. Oh, God, yes, I yelled in my mind. "Your pussy is so hot, so wet, Annabelle. I want to savor you." "Harder, Michael, harder. Oh, yes, please." I screamed. I didn't even recognize my voice. It was garbled and hoarse with passion. I had lost all control. All right, you guys are talking too much. I can't see. I figured as much. Ooh, they certainly got tigers out again tonight. Hey, LaSasha. And his name's Michael, too. Well, listen, I'm going to start over that part. "Harder, Michael, harder. Oh, yes, please," I screamed. I didn't even recognize my voice. It was garbled and hoarse with passion. I had lost all control. His rhythm picked up even more, and he began to drive into me hard and fast. I tried to frantically meet his rhythm in a dance with my hips, but he held me firmly in place. I groaned at his control. My whole body was hot with wanting and finally on the verge of sati- complete satisfaction. I could feel my face burning with desire and pure elation. Turn over, he demanded. Lie on your stomach. Oh, Michael, please don't stop, please, I begged as I turned onto my stomach as fast as I could. He spread my legs as wide apart as he could get them. He slammed his cock into me hard. He continued his beautiful assault, and I let out a loud, blissful cry. Your your pussy is so taut like this, baby. Oh, it feels good, he moaned. I was on the verge of completely falling apart. I could feel myself about to climax, and he stopped. If he did not let me come this time, I would never forgive him. Up on all fours, Annabelle. I didn't hesitate. My ass lifted into the air as he climbed behind me. He began to slowly push in again, and I screamed out, Fuck me! Hard! Oh my God, don't stop! He grabbed me by the waist with one hand and began to artfully massage my clitoris with his other as his cock slowly and methodically pushed in and out of me. My head was spinning, my body was aching, and I was on fire from the mixture of torture and delight this night had brought. He stopped inside of me as he continued to tickle my clit lightly. I tried to push myself onto him harder, fruitlessly, as he again held me in place. I could feel trickles of sweat dripping down my back into the crack of my ass as I prayed for dear life that he would let me come. I actually grunted like an animal as I writhed and I implored him uncontrollably. Shh, he teased. Tell me precisely what you want, baby, as he continued to torture my body, not just begging. I want you. Please, Michael. My voice cracked. He was so mean, so kind, so fucking hot. It drove me almost to the edge of insanity. I shook, welling with emotion. Please. With that, he slammed into me and his pace kept speeding up. He drove into me once, twice, three times. I lost it right then. He pinched my clit hard and I climaxed furiously, screaming out his name at the top of my lungs. He held me still while my body contorted and burned. I had the sweetest release of my life. When my orgasm subsided, he slammed into me again and again, and I came again in small, intense successions. My body convulsed and shook. I didn't know when my climaxes would end. All the teasing and waiting produced climaxes I'd never thought possible. Intense, gratifying, almost painful in that beautiful, I can see stars kind of way. Finally, I fell to the bed, spent and exceptionally contented. He flipped my body over, ripped off his condom, and stroked his cock. He immediately came all over my belly and breast and exhaled long and breathy before he spoke. He looked into my eyes. Baby, are you okay? What do you mean? I'm so happy in this moment. I have never felt like this, I panted. You're crying, he said with worry in his voice as he took his thumbs and brushed my tears away. Did I hurt you? I hadn't even realized that tears were streaming down my face and it just slipped out and I said it almost in a trance like daze. I love you, Michael. Silence. I could have kicked myself. Why did I have to ruin the moment? Why would I say such a thing? I couldn't possibly love him. I tried to recover and change the subject. Am I sleeping here?
Let me get you a shirt.
He smiled down at me and kissed me.
And a towel.
Okay. He didn't freak. He was letting me stay. I would just pretend I never said that. Maybe he didn't even hear me. I lied to myself. My stomach twisted in sickening worry. He cleaned me up with a towel and helped me put on the white shirt he had been wearing. I took a long inhalation and hugged it tightly against me. He would never be getting this shirt back. The fire was dying out, but still filled the air with warmth, and I could not fight my exhaustion anymore. I fell fast asleep, nuzzled in the warmth of his arms. I awoke to voices arguing. I looked up to see Michael getting dressed into a workout outfit, his cell phone on speaker on the bureau. He mouthed, "I'm sorry," with his lips and rolled his eyes.
Yes, Justine, I plan to come today. When don't I?
He pressed the speaker off so I couldn't hear Justine's response, and he waltzed out of the room. Who the fuck was Justine? And why was it top secret? My stomach flipped most unpleasantly as I remembered those 3 words I had uttered the night before. Should I sneak out? I grabbed my head into my hands and sat up, rocking back and forth. He came back into the room smelling like him, and I was afraid to look up into his eyes. I was so embarrassed at my wild behavior the night before. Shyness engulfed me. I realized we were still virtual strangers.
Going for a run. You are more than welcome to stay.
He bit down, pulled my chin up with his fingers, angling to look into my face.
You are beautiful to watch sleep.
And he went in to kiss me and stopped, brushing his fingers across my lips as he smiled, knowing how my body reacted to such torment. He left me there, ever the tease. Oh, great. Now what? He gave me no indication of what he wanted. Should I stay and lose all pride? Or should I go and pine and think of him all day? I felt like such an idiot. If I left, when would we talk again? When would I see him again? Oh, why did I have to wake up? I should have feigned sleep, and then I wouldn't have been in this predicament. I knew I didn't really have a choice. I had to leave. What else could I do? I had no idea how long he would be. I knew how to get home, which would be long and uncomfortable with no makeup, hairbrush, or toothbrush. Why hadn't I thought to pack a bag? He must at least have a hairbrush I could use and toothpaste, for God's sake. Okay, get up, get your act together, and don't sit here like a complete helpless puppy in love. I chided myself. I was not looking forward to the long tea ride home. I sat up and ran my fingers through my tangled mess of hair. Of course, I looked beautiful when I slept. Awake, I looked like I had been through a meat pulverizer. Sitting there gave me a chance to take in my surroundings. I hadn't even noticed his huge master suite. I looked at the decadent linens gracing his king-size bed. The frame made of something I would need to ask about. The head and footboard made of black iron. The fireplace and his mantel, classic and traditional oak, somehow matched the modern oversized flat screen TV, modern artwork, and oversized leather chair. It had a masculinity and beauty to it, such a perfect eclectic combination that I couldn't help but wonder if he had had a decorator or a former girlfriend help him. I shook the latter out of my mind. As I made my way over to the bathroom, I hadn't even noticed walking through his closet the night before, a room to itself. The organization inside the closet slapped me silent as I wheeled myself away from running my hands through his clothes and over his shoes. I laughed at my tiny closet in my apartment, crumpled clothes barely hanging up. The contrast was borderline absurd. I wanted to go through his things to somehow learn about him more deeply, but I stopped myself from those unhealthy urges and forced myself to enter his bathroom. I blushed looking at the clawfoot tub, the memory of his touches invading my entire body. I looked up over the double sinks, and there on the wall
there on the wall-length mirror in shaving cream read, "I hope you will wait for me." I melted. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I would have melted. I pulled the shirt tight around my body, inhaled his scent from it again, ran back into the bedroom, and hopped back into his bed. I closed my eyes and tried to fall back asleep, make it look like I was just too tired to leave. But my mind was racing. I didn't even know this man, and I had told him I loved him. I was so mad at myself. I couldn't believe it, but I wanted to know him. I had a driving urge to start snooping through his house. Who was Justine? What was his past? How many women had been in his life? Who was his family? I had so many questions. All I knew about him was his sweet, tantalizing sexual prowess. Oh my God. Yes, I'm wearing a bra tonight, and I've been wearing it all day, and it's getting on my nerves. And it's just a cheap sports bra, but it's still getting on my nerves. Why am I wearing a bra still? Oh my God. Thinking about the previous night and our first night in his office got me wet all over. I brushed my fingers over my swollen lips and exhaled, feeling my hot breath. I couldn't think about him without thinking about his touch, making me beg with need. I wanted to touch myself, thinking of him feeding me lobster, teasing me, and ultimately giving me earth-shattering climaxes. But I didn't dare. I didn't want to get caught. I would stay put, waiting and hoping he would make glorious love to me again when he got home. I realized I had fallen back asleep. I must have, because I was interrupted by the noise of keys jiggling the lock. Oh, yes, he was back. Should I close my eyes and pretend? Oh, shit, I was a mess. I ran into the bathroom to try and find a brush for my unruly hair. I found some toothpaste and put some on my finger and brushed. It was better than nothing. I gargled with some mouthwash I had never seen. No chemicals, no animal testing, organic, etc. Whatever. It had to be done. Of course, the water from the sink was sensor programmed, and the mouthwash was making a mess of his sink as I raced to splash the water around to clean it. I looked around half expecting to see a hand dryer and laughed to myself, but there wasn't one. It actually surprised me a bit. I couldn't find a brush anywhere, and I didn't want to rummage through his things too much. Having found an elastic in my jeans earlier, I went over and tousled my hair, gathering it into a loose bun atop my head, as I usually did when I was in a rush. Thank God. A knock on the bathroom door startled me. "Annabelle?" I stuttered, feeling foolish after our night together. "Hi." I could feel his smile through the door. God, he was confident and in control. He asked, "Are you hungry? May I come in?" Hungry? Was he talking about food or sex? I felt my heart race and gulped. "Yes," I managed. "Yes, you're hungry," or "Yes, I can come in," or "Yes to both." Again, I could feel his grin widening with each word. I opened the door. His shorts hung low, and his chest glistened with a few beads of sweat from his workout. His washboard abs beckoned me to touch him, but I froze shyly instead. I was dripping wet from the mere sound of his voice and his perfect body. I realized I was holding my breath and let out a huge exhalation. "Are you happy to see me?" He took a step closer. "Breathe, Annabelle." His blue eyes gazed into me. I wondered if he could read my mind. "How was your run?" I tried to sound all nonchalant. He smiled, knowing my tactics. He took my hands in his and slowly raised them above my head. Oh my God, what was this? My breathing began to pick up, my pulse alive with excitement. He slowly lifted the shirt of his I was wearing over my head and exposed my naked body. My panties had been too wet for me to put back on the night before. A gasp escaped from my mouth. unintentionally. I stood in front of him, vulnerable and naked. He stood there and stared at me slowly, deliberately, holding his shirt now in his hands. Embarrassed and turned on like hell, I tried to cover up my body with my arms and looked down at my feet. He took another step closer and my breath hitched again. But he brushed past me and opened a drawer. "Finding everything okay?" he quizzed playfully, handed me what appeared to be a brand new hairbrush and an unopened toothbrush. I couldn't find my voice, too shy in that moment as a red burn continued to creep up and out of my body. God, did he always stash extras for his guest? Insecurities enveloped me yet again. He raised my face up to him and looked deep into my eyes. "You're so beautiful, Annabelle. I hope you know that. I thank you for giving me my shirt back." And he turned to walk out of the bathroom with his shirt still in his hand, leaving me there naked and feeling like a fool. "I need to make sure my laundry gets done. He winked back at me. "Michael," I tried not to sound desperate. "I was hoping to keep that shirt." He laughed lightly and took my hand. "Come, let's get you some breakfast." "Can I have your shirt back?" I asked. "If you want to keep it, it's yours. I have a million. But I'd like to watch you eat your breakfast naked, if you don't mind. Go sit in bed. I'll take a quick shower and then bring you something to eat." He was so fucking sexy. How could he make me feel this way? Why did I love the way this made me feel? This new Annabelle was absolutely not me. If you had said you'd give me $1 million to submit myself to a man this way, I'd have said, "Save your money. It ain't going to happen." And here I was, wanting this, wanting to feel this way, wanting to lose control to him. It felt good. It felt sexy. It felt alive. I sat in bed, naked under the covers, pulling the sheets tightly around me. I rolled on to his side of the bed and tried to find his scent to revel in it, to take it in. I still felt like a dog in heat, for God's sake. He returned with a plate of cheeses and fruit: cantaloupe, watermelon, strawberries. Oh, strawberries, blackberries, and bananas. He was freshly showered, a pair of light tan bottoms hanging off his hips. His dark hair looked even darker than usual, still wet, messy, and sexy as hell. His damp chest hair taunted me to touch it. God, I wanted this man. Couldn't believe I was with this man. "Hi," he said as he kissed my earlobe. I set it under the sheets. "Hi," I returned dreamily. He smells so fucking good. He placed a plate between us and said, "Eat." His voice made me wet. I popped a blackberry in my mouth as sexual tension gobbled up the air. I wanted to ask him so many questions. I wanted to know why he liked games so much, why he liked control. I wanted to know why he said he had such issues with trust. I had him here eating with me. He wasn't going anywhere. I needed to build up some courage. I pulled the sheets around me tighter and started with a softball. "What is this wood here on your bed?" And I pointed to it. "Do you like it?" he asked, shifting ever closer to me, and I drew the sheets ever more. "Yes," I said simply. "Recycled teak." Of course recycled, I thought to myself. "Sturdy." He raised an eyebrow on my side, feeling the dampness between my legs. "Why do you do those things to me?" I stuttered. "What things?" he teased, making me shift uncontrollably. You know what I mean, Michael, please. Tease me like that. Play those games. It turns me on. Why? You didn't enjoy yourself? He mocked. He tried to pull the sheets down to expose my breast, but I pulled them tighter. I needed to actually talk to this man without distractions. That's not the point. I tried to finish, but felt a flush overcoming me and looked down shyly. Again, he reached for my chin and pulled my face to meet his eyes. With sincerity, he asked, "Was it too much for you? Did I go overboard?" I loved it. I screamed in my head. It made me want you. It made me want and need and feel things I had never felt before. See, you even tease me now. You know how it made me feel. I've never felt like that, like this, the way I feel right now. I scooched closer to him, willing him to touch me, kiss me, something. God, I just wanted this man in every way. I didn't recognize this burning need, but I also didn't want to stop talking to get to know who this man was who had ensnared me. Karen, you're supposed to be writing an essay. He smiled knowingly but didn't touch or kiss me. Baby, I want you to want me. I want you to crave me. I want you to feel this way. I like knowing that you feel a need for me. I like to know that I am the cause of it. It makes me feel good. Being in control makes me feel good. He brushed his fingers along my collarbone the way he did, sending jabs of desire right to my sex. My wet juices distracted me from my inquisition. God, he was so honest, so blunt. No embarrassment as he spoke with such matter-of-fact answers. I wondered how a man so gorgeous, so confident, needed to feel wanted. Needed, period. You could have any woman you want. Why me? I really didn't understand it. Maybe, but it doesn't matter. I want you, he asked. He was almost whispering. I crave you. Wow, he did? I continued to pry. Have you been hurt? Does someone not want you? I asked. I could never imagine a woman not wanting him. There was a long pause. Yes, Annabelle. He said it very slowly. I had not expected that. Here I was, naked, full of rapaciousness of this man, and he was opening up to me, sharing a bit of himself. I didn't want this mood to end. I wanted to know this man so desperately to understand him. I kept going. Will you tell me what happened? I could hear my phone ringing out in the living room. I ignored it. Don't you think you want to check your phone? This is the third time someone has tried to call you. I hadn't heard my phone until now, and I didn't care. No, I said. I want to know more about. I want to know you more. Tell me, who is this woman that hurts you? It was clear that he was uncomfortable, but I could see him searching for the right words. It is not what you're thinking. He stopped and took a deep breath. My mother and father divorced when I was 12 years old. Things were never the same for my sister and me. I was never the same. I was affected in ways that have, he paused, shaped the person I am today. He was opening up. Did he feel like his parents didn't want him? I felt such a closeness to him in that moment. I didn't want to stop asking him questions, but I also didn't want to pry too deeply and turn him off. I didn't want to ruin the trust we were building. I said gently, is that part of your trust issues? My mind reminded me of my lesson from the previous night, and I squeezed my legs together. It's part of it, but there's much more to the story. Much more. I felt intense. Last night was a lesson, Annabelle, about betrayal and what that feels like. I need to be able to trust you. I don't want you to ever lie to me again. We won't last if you do. He softened and the sexual energy resurfaced. He smiled, looking down between my legs, seeing my guilty squeeze. But I also want you to need and want me. Am I succeeding? I just breathed, mesmerized by his voice and the revelation of his insecurities. I liked his dark, sexual, controlling side, but his depth of character, his imperfections, made me really feel like I may love him. I sighed. I don't think you're going to have to worry about me wanting you. I paused. And I promise you can trust me. He shifted, and I could tell that was all I would learn about him in that moment. He changed the subject, but enough about me. Who is Annabelle Smith? I didn't want to talk about me. I wanted to talk about him and his trust issues and his penchant for teaching women lessons and teasing them out of their minds and his ability to produce never ending orgasms. I don't want to talk about me. I'm boring. I'm what you see, I said foolishly, not wanting to open up. Oh, I don't think so. I don't think you like giving up much control in your life, and yet here you are, enjoying the freedom it's affording you. I watched you struggle with giving up control. I watched you struggle to accept that you liked it, wanted it. I watched you struggle. He smirked, a knowing memory flitting across his face. He could be so smug. How did he know? I always had to be in control when it came to my life, my relationships. Did I like sex? Always, yes. But did I do it often? No. Scott was the most serious boyfriend I had ever had. The other two were more extended flings that ended poorly on my part because of my dance schedule. And that was it. 3 lovers, no one night stands, nothing out of the normal. Thinking about what I had experienced now, I realized my life was quite dull. Like I had really just started living a few weeks ago. I internally chuckled, comparing my life to the Wizard of Oz. It was like I was living with no color until he entered my life. Then I giggled out loud as I thought about Dorothy's first step from her black and white world into the colorful world of Munchkin Land. He cocked his head to look up into my face. Have you always enjoyed sex so much? He teased. Stop it, I said, slightly embarrassed, but I smiled. It was lighthearted and fun. No, I mean it. How many men have you been with? How many times have you been in love? Oh my God, this was getting a little serious. I blushed. Did I have too few lovers? Would he think I was some kind of troll? I don't know if I've ever been truly in love. I paused. I didn't know love until you. I think I love you, you asshole. Didn't you even hear me last night? I wanted to scream. And as unbelievable as that seemed, I knew in that moment that the possibility was not that absurd. 3, I finally admitted. But I couldn't help but wonder how many women he had been with. My cell phone rang again before I had a chance to continue. Could you please find out what the urgency is and pick up your phone? Could I have your shirt back? I asked innocently. No, he smirked. I like knowing you're naked. It means you're not going anywhere. He got up to leave the room. I'll get your phone. His voice made me clench. He didn't want me going anywhere. He didn't want me going anywhere? Was he falling for me too? One minute we're having a normal chat like a regular couple, and then he says one thing, and I'm dripping and wanting all over him. It was really unfair in many ways, the effect he had on me. He came back with a serious look on his face. His humor was gone. It looks like as if someone has truly been in love. Scott has called you 4 times now. He passed my phone to me. Oh, I stammered. I was nervous. I had no idea why Scott would be calling me, and quite frankly, I didn't care. I didn't want this mood to end, and yet it was too late. It had ended. I looked over to where Michael stood next to the bed, turned away from me. He took off the casual bottoms he had been wearing and stood naked only a few inches from me. God, he had the perfect ass. He turned around and caught me staring and smiled. His cock was erect and only inches out of my touch. You're insatiable, Annabelle. But he walked away and opened up one of his dresser drawers and began to dress. I'm insatiable? I thought to myself. He was the one with the rock hard cock. Fully clothed, he sat back on the bed. He carried my clothes from the night before in his hands. I guessed it was my cue that I was leaving. I didn't want to leave. It was Sunday, and really, I wish we could just do a repeat of the night before over and over and over again. Are you going to listen to Loverboy's messages? He asked sarcastically. He actually sounded jealous, angry. He had not just tormented me for a whole night, bringing my body to excruciating fever and bliss. Did he not hear me tell him that I loved him in the heat of passion when he said nothing back? How could he possibly be jealous? I just couldn't understand this man. I didn't answer and instead couldn't control myself, turning the tables. Who's Justine? He didn't say anything and looked guilty as hell. More forcefully, I asked again, who is Justine? Oh, she's just another woman. He trailed. What? Who's dating someone else? Mr. Monogamy? Mr. I teach lessons to people who deceive me. Mr. Monogamy? Tell me, I demanded, pulling on my pants and cami as quickly as I could. I felt humiliated. Annabelle, he wouldn't look me in the face. Where is my blazer? I said, much louder than I realized. I looked over and he burst out laughing. You're sick. You know that? You're twisted and sick. I could feel my insides coming inside out with grief. I'm just teasing you, baby. It's so easy to do. For someone so smart, you're so gullible. He pulled me in his arms and kissed the top of my head. You're a real bastard, I snarled, but relaxed and laughed a little myself. The way he called me baby made me gooey. Where did you say you went to school? You might want to ask them for a refund, he continued to joke. Ha, ha, ha. And I don't think I have anything to worry about with my education from Smith, I said righteously. Smith, yes, that's right. Perhaps if you spent more time getting lost in books rather than pussy. He laughed loudly. What? I said, horrified. He was stereotyping Smith. Well, truth be told, he wouldn't have been that far off. I'm just kidding, but really, Annabelle, isn't that a school for lesbians? I mixed that up, didn't I? Let's go back and try that again. Ha ha ha. And I don't think I have anything to worry about with my education from Smith, I said righteously. Smith? Yes, that's right. Perhaps if you spent more time getting lost in books rather than pussy. He laughed out loud. What? I said, horrified. He was stereotyping Smith. Well, truth be told, he wouldn't have been that far off. I'm just kidding. But really, Annabelle, isn't that a school for lesbians? You didn't seem like a lesbian last night. Is there something you forgot to tell me? Not that I mind. My best friend is a lesbian. I think I saw an expression of hope in his face. The pig. Cut it out. I rolled my eyes at him, but felt myself laughing along. I knew he was just teasing. Tease was his middle name. My mind wondered. I wonder what his middle name really was. What the L stood for. I'm going to have to find that out. But before I could ask, he grabbed me in his arms and began to tickle me. Do all the girls at Smith like to be tied up and fed dinner? Was that a favorite nighttime ritual over there in the dormitories of your all girls school? I was grateful I had put my clothes back on. I was an extremely ticklish person. Stop it! I squealed and found a pillow and hit him with it. He pinned me down. He pushed his knees over my arms and sat on my pelvis. I couldn't move. Make me stop, Ms. Smith. The pun was not lost on me. I had no idea how really ticklish you were, Annabelle. I will make a mental note of that. His piercing blue eyes burned me up. Stop, I said breathlessly as he relentlessly tickled me. I screamed and writhed, laughing and crying. I was helpless under his assault. So, what did you study at Smith? He relented a bit to give me enough time to catch my breath. Economics, dance, a focus in ballet. I couldn't finish as the tickling began again. What, Annabelle? I couldn't hear you, he mocked and teased. You're laughing too loud, and I want to hear what you have to say. Then stop tickling me. I felt like I was going to pee my pants. He finally stopped, laughing lightly, and kissed me against his smiling lips. Annabelle, I like that. A dancer. Wouldn't want those beautiful legs to go to waste. Come, let me drive you home. I have to meet my sister, Justine. He winked. I'll use the Tesla, or I'll use the Tesla, or I'll be late. I think you're becoming a bad influence on me, Annabelle. The same could be said of you. I smiled up at him. Touche, Annabelle. Touche. Oh, that was good timing. All righty. So, what are you bitches talking about up here? Lord. This man and his fruit. See, Karen, now you got to go buy the book so you can read about the fruit and lobster. Because apparently she was tied up during it. And the census said, take it off. Ooh, now Miss Shirley's riding that pony. Darling, tell RB I appreciate her letting me read this. It's a good book. I'm going to have to finish reading the whole thing now. Karen, what I've learned about you is you are easily distracted. Oh, me. So, what y'all think? Once I finally got around to reading it, it was good, wasn't it? Yep. So,
better be deleting it out, Karen. That's what you need to be doing. Thank you. It's sexy lounge music or something. I just feel like there's not something playing in the background. It doesn't make it real enough. It's like watching TV. You know, when you watch these shows and movies and stuff, you gotta exactly Pebbles. You gotta have something in the background. All right, ladies. So I think I figured out what I did with the microphone, but I'll fix that later. And no, not to do that anymore. Can y'all hear me better on this or before the microphone went out? More normally. There she is. Oh, now she's going for the deck. Here I am. Sorry, come on. Right here. All right, ladies. I got to get off from here. I can get up early in the morning. I hope I can even go to sleep with drinking tea. Damn, I was craving it. All right, ladies. Have a great evening. We'll see how Saturday goes. Anybody got any big plans for Saturday? We might do something Saturday. So, all right, ladies. Have a great evening. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow or Saturday or someday. Have a good weekend anyway. Don't talk to you. You guys have a great week, great weekend. Happy reading.